Hi, Mary Cook here. Welcome to my office again. I got a new webcam. It's pretty cool. Also, I want to show you my shirt. I think my friend got me this. It says, some grandmas wear pink, real grandmas wear ink. Look at this. That is my dragon. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of peeking underneath the wing there. Okay, that is Seeley. Seeley plays an important part in the book. Later on, you'll see. Okay, oh, hey, I got a question for you. Who knows the answer to this? Why do old people seem to obsess on the color purple? Anyone? Anyone? See, purple hair, purple shirt. Because it's pretty. Figure that one out, huh? Yeah, I know. Just kind of a weird grandma thing, I guess. I know there are poems, and when I get old, I'll wear purple. I'm old, I wear purple. Okay, so we're going to read chapter 3. I do this because of the light glaring off of my glasses. Blind as a bat, guys. Can't see a single thing. Okay. Bob Cook. Now stop covering up his name. Chrono drop Nogatha, Bob Cook. Chapter 3. More rats. Okay. And if you get tired of listening to me read, you could always click on the link under the video for the book. And here's the fun. Read it yourself. Okay. All right. Chapter 3, More Rats. Looking down the medium-sized opening in the floor, all he saw was a blanket of darkness. The bamboo ladder. This is my assistant, who is a little bit shy about being on video. I don't know why. He's also very important to this book, but he's shy. Okay, starting over here. Looking down the medium-sized opening in the floor, all he saw was a blanket of darkness. The bamboo ladder, bound together by crusty twine, disappeared into the murky depth. A single faint glow from a pair of eyes could be seen skittering about in the darkness. Reverberating up the hole was an occasional squeak. I sure hope this elixir works, Keenus said to himself, gulping loudly. I did it again. He closed his eyes tightly as he popped the top off a small cylindrical vial and placed it to his lips. The fumes were nauseating. It was like holding an open gas tank up to his nose. Gas tank up to your nose. He tipped the vial up as if chugging a shot of alcohol. In an instant, the overwhelming potency of his drink distorted his face. That would be funny. And caused him to aggressively throw the empty bottle into the darkness. I guess people do that. Yuck! He shouted as he tried to unscrunch his face. He opened his eyes, then hurriedly squinted them back tightly. Ouch! So freaking bright. It was like looking directly at the sun. Be sure it is dark when you drink it. You don't want to be blinded by the light, the merchant had warned him. Keenus had already forgotten he wasn't supposed to drink the elixir in daylight. Blindly reaching out to feel for the ladder, which was leaned up against the backside of the wall on the other side of the huge opening in the floor. That's scary. He clutched it with both hands and started inching his way down. Squinting through one eye, he peeked into the sewer. "Oh, wow, it's clear as day down here," Keenan shouted as he stood on a rung halfway down. The ladder extended at least another 6 feet, stopping short of the ground by about 2 more feet. Quite a long fall from the top. He took a deep sigh and made a mental note to be more careful from now on. No more feeling for the ladder with his eyes closed. Drawing his sword from its sheath, he scanned the mossy cobblestone floor and pointed the tip of his blade at a rat that was hiding behind those once glowing eyes. "You have had a good life, friend. You will make good poop for a future paying customer." Pushing away from the ladder to free fall the 8-foot drop, he held his sword above his head, ready to slash, and let out a yelp as the reality of how far he was falling kicked in. Just before landing, he closed his eyes and swung his katana down, slicing half of the raised rat's face off while simultaneously landing to a squat. Superhero entrance. "One down, several to go," he said as he took a spool of thin rope from his backpack. He wrapped this coarse line around the dead rat's back legs, serving as an over-the-shoulder rat transportation assistant. Standing tall, he spun the rat around and dangled it over his left shoulder. Up ahead was a small stone bridge passing over a stream of green, murky liquid. Keenan was grateful there was a way across. He didn't want to imagine crossing that stream without a bridge. The smell as he approached was overwhelming. He began to dry heave and felt the greasy meat he and Nogatha ate back at the Squatting Dragon Inn make its way back up his throat. "This job sucks," he said, as he tried not to throw up the only contents in his belly. The sound of his heaving attracted a pack of large rats, which closely resembled the rats from the forest he had woken up in. Keenan bolted across the bridge, charging the 5 large rodents. He jumped up and swung his sword down on one of his many foes, slicing down the middle of its head, splitting it in 2. The other rat swarmed his feet. He thrust his blade into the back of one of the smaller of the pack. "Oh no," he yelled, realizing he now had a 20-pound rat stuck to the end of his katana. He grabbed one of the rats by the skin on the back of its neck and pulled it from his thigh. Its hair felt like coarse thread, and its skin was solid and difficult to wrench away from its muscular back. It twitched and jerked its head around, aggressively sinking its teeth into the flesh of his forearm. "Ouch, stupid rat," Keenan yelled, bringing his forearm up to his mouth and biting down on the top of the rat's head. "You couldn't make me do that." He could feel its skull cracking between his teeth as his face quaked from the combination of the pain radiating from his arm and the intensity of his bite. Unexpectedly, his teeth crushed the rat's skull, filling his mouth with hot brain and hot syrup. The razor-sharp skull shards had sliced deep into his gums. The now dead rat's bite fell away from Keenan's arm as it dropped to the ground. "I will not be defeated by a rat," Keenan yelled as he brought his fist down on the back of a rodent that was trying to shimmy up his other leg. "You will make good food," he said as he raised his leg chest high and slammed it down on its head. The rat, impaled on the end of Keenan's katana, finally stopped squirming. Moving the blade to his foot, he slid it off with the bottom of his shoe. "Next," he said, spitting chunks of flesh on the lone remaining rat, which, in turn, ran away. Dropping to his knees and grabbing his arm, he cursed under his breath, "Stupid vermin! I'm such an idiot. I'm going to have to cut this little grocery store trip short and get this bite taken care of." Keenus tied the rats together and heaved them over his shoulder. "Holy mother of rat's balls," he said, realizing the limp bodies of 5 rats were a lot heavier than he thought they would be. Turning to make his way back to the ladder, he stopped in an instant of panic. Something very unfortunate had just happened. "No way, I can't see anything." Did the rabbit bite cause him to lose his sight? Squinting in the direction he had been heading, he saw a dim light coming from the ceiling where he remembered the ladder having been. "Oh crap, the stupid elixir wore off," Keenus yelled in frustration. The sound of pointy rat nails running across the cold stone floor behind him filled his heart with an unusual sense of terror. He wouldn't be able to see his small attackers and could barely hold his sword due to his multiple pesky injuries. Time to bounce. With 100 pounds of rats slung over his shoulder, he took off in the best sprint he could muster. "Whoa! No, 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 no!" he cried as his left foot failed to find the solid ground and landed in the shallow sludge beside the bridge. The knee-high, repulsive mixture of human excrement and who knows what else completely covered him and his prized rats. "This had better not have been a wasted trip," he muttered angrily to himself as he heaved the rats out of the sludge and onto solid ground. These pages are surprisingly thick and surprisingly difficult to turn. Okay. Pulling his leg out of the sewage, he felt a sharp pain cut into the hand he had placed on the stone walkway. On a mission to get out of there, he paid no attention to it and pulled himself to his feet and bolted toward the ladder. Sheathing his blade as he ran, he grabbed the ladder and started making his way up, unwinding his rope. As he climbed up to the exit, he noticed, or rather, didn't notice, a few fingers on his right hand. Are you freaking serious? How did I not notice my fingers getting bit off? Dizzy, agitated, and worn out, he didn't seem to care that he was now 2 fingers shy of his usual 10. Poking his head out of the sewer, the fresh air and cool breeze hit him in the face. "Ah, that's nice," he said, smiling as he stood to his feet. He began to pull his bundle of rats out from the depth, bleeding hand over bleeding hand. He felt as if he was going to lose consciousness from the pain emitting from his right arm. The load was heavy, and the rope was beginning to burn a trail across his skin. Nicolate better not complain about these rats. Finally, lifting his prize up to the surface level, he fell back to his butt and landed on the cold stone floor. "I could lay here all day," Keenus said between heavy breaths. "Must return to Nicolate." A man in a brown robe found Keenus unconscious in a pool of blood by the entrance to the sewer. He squatted down by the lifeless body and began wrapping Keenus' discolored, limp arm in long strands of damp cloth bandages. The man then lifted Keenus' arm and began to wrap his hand. Keenus opened his eyes, a small sliver, and struggled to speak. "Who are you? I don't have any money. I ran," he began to say. The man interrupted him mid-sentence. "No need, friend. Let me finish my work, and I will be on my way," the man said. "My treasures are in heaven. There is nothing on this planet you could offer me that could compare to what my father has in store for me. Oh, okay. Cool? What are you putting on me? It feels amazing, Keena said as he sat up. It is simply cloth dipped in a special mixture of healing herbs. Got it at the healer's shop across from the Squatting Dragon Inn. Please take some for your future adventures. We don't want you falling asleep and never waking up. Now do we? The cloaked man said, letting a half smile find its way to his mouth. I would invest in some sort of armor if you intend to lead a life of adventure. You remind me of a blundering oaf I once knew. A man by the name of Keenus. There we go, all done. Be more careful. Thank you, Keena said, rising to his feet. I'm just trying to get enough gold for my next meal. Armor will have to wait. The two men exchanged nods and went separate ways. Keenus wondered how long he was napping. It was starting to get dark. Stopping at the stream to the right of the sewer building, he set his booty down and proceeded to wash the sludge off each rat. Catching a disapproving glare from one of the locals, he pulled his meat out of the water and headed back to the inn. Exhausted, he made his way up the steps and greeted the innkeeper at the door. How much for these rats? Oh my, are those giant rats? The innkeeper inquired. We pay 5 coins for a normal rat. Giant ones are 20 coins a pop, she said as she examined the batch. This one looks like it might have spilled organs inside. The meat might be bad. I'll give you 100 coins for all of them. Deal, Keenus exclaimed. Give me a few slices of that cake, too, or I'll take my rats someplace else. The innkeeper snickered. Not a problem, sir. You have yourself a good evening, she said as she hauled the rats to a small room in the back. An old man walked out of the same room with a few moments later with a coin purse labeled 100 GC on the side. Here you go, he said as he tossed the purse to Keenus. He then sliced 2 large pieces of chocolate cake from the display counter up front and placed them on a wooden plate. And your complimentary slices of cake. Anything else for you this evening? No, thank you, Keenus said as he grabbed the plate with his non-bandaged hand. He turned and headed toward the stairs to go see his lovely wife and tell her all about his little adventure. Nicolate! Keenus yelled, barging into the room. He jumped up on the bed and straddled his wife. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Oh my gosh, Keenus, Nicolate yelled, plugging her nose. You smell like a dirty diaper. Get off the bed. My bad, Keenus said, rolling off and landing on his feet. I got 100 coins today. We are going to be rich, girl. He threw the sack of coins at Nicolate, where it landed in her lap and spilled all over the bed. Good job, Keenus. How long was I asleep? Nicolate pondered. What happened to your arm? The rats put up more of a fight than I expected. I really could have used your pepper spray, Keenus said, laughing. Seriously, though, we need to go to the forge in the morning and see about getting me some armor. I met a man today that hooked me up with some cool bandages. You need to find out how to make some. As soon as they put them on my wounds, they felt 100% better, Keenus said, tossing them to her. As soon as who put them on your arm? Nicolate asked, yawning. Dunno. Some guy in a brown robe come to think about it. He said I reminded him of a blundering oaf with the same name as me. And that doesn't bother you? No. Your name isn't common. I have yet to meet anyone who shares it. You didn't think to ask him how he knew your name and where he came from and how he knew to bring medicated bandage? Nicolete yawned again and looked down at her wrist. What time is it? I feel like I have only been asleep for a few hours. You never answered me about how long you were gone, Keenis. That's because my girlfriend made me promise not to tell, Keenis jested, grinning and backing up out of her reach. Ha ha, very funny, Nicolete said, not amused. Can you please put the money back in the bag and come to bed? I need to take a shower or bath or something, Keenis said as he lifted his arm up to smell his pit. Good idea. After you find out where we get cleaned up, can you please let me know, Nicolete asked as she laid back down in bed. Whatever that Hector threw at me, I feel great, and my Aunt Flo went home. If you know what I mean. She pointed between her spread legs and smiled. What? That's disgusting, Keenis said with a smile. Does that mean that when I get back from getting cleaned up, you will give me a bedtime story? Keenis winked as he bent over the bed to give her a kiss. Can you see the wink? We'll see. Remember, I still haven't washed up either, babe, Nicolete said after she gave him a kiss. She then rolled over and pulled the blanket over her head. I love you, her muffled voice shouted from under the covers. I love you too, Keenis replied as he stood up from leaning over the bed. He then walked out the door, shutting it gently so as not to disturb his lovely Nicolete. He turned down the hallway and made his way to the stairs when he noticed a man and woman walking out of the room a few doors down. Evening, Keenis said, nodding to the gentleman. I am going to go wash my stink off. Oh, are you now? I hadn't noticed the horrible smell permeating from you at all, the man said with an odd grin. The woman standing beside him smacked him on the arm and gave him a dirty look. Ouch! You know I was only joking. We are headed to the bathhouse if you care to join us. Sounds awesome. Thank you. Keenis smiled and nodded. I'm new around here. Don't really know where anything is. Well, you're about to know where the best bathhouse from Nogatha to Indecent is, the man said with a smile. Just turn left and head to the stream. Make one right past the sewer entrance, and it will be on your left. The stream runs right through it. Oh, right on, Keenis said as he followed the two neighbors outside. I have been over in this direction before, had myself a little mini-adventure in the sewer. Scary place, the man said. I've heard horror stories about that place. Don't venture too far into the labyrinth unless you have a few friends tagging along. I once saw a group of warriors pulling a 15-foot alligator out of that tomb. Don't make up stories, Sage, the woman said as she backhanded his chest. They were barely 10 feet, not counting their tails, of course. Keenis gulped and thought back to his near-death experience with the rats. How close was he to those gators, and how close was he to death? One thing was certain. He was going to have to buy more potions and some armor first thing in the morning. Here we are, the man said as he opened the door for Keenis. 1 gold coin for a cup of soap. I forgot my money, Keenis said, smacking himself on the forehead. Don't worry about it. You can pay me back when we get back to the Squatting Dragon, the man said as he dropped the 3 coins into the hand of the bathhouse attendants. By the way, my name is Sage Gragather, said the man as he handed Keenis his cup of soap. Pleased to meet you, Keenis said, taking the soap. Keenis Sanaz. The two strangers both looked at each other in shock. Keenis didn't know why their demeanor had suddenly changed, but knew it probably had something to do with his name. People always had strange reactions when they found out what it was. "A pleasure," the woman said, holding her hand out, palm down, as if waiting for a gentlemanly kiss on the hand. "I am Sedge's boss, Tanya Ainsley." Keenis gave her a high five and smiled. "Where did I put my stuff?" "Follow me," Tanya said, rolling her eyes. "Right through this door. Just place your hand on the wall here to open your SDB. "My what?" "Your safety deposit box, silly," Tanya answered, shaking her head. "Oops, forgot to turn the ringer off." "I just hung up on my son." "Still forgot to turn the ringer off." Okay. Go back. "Your safety deposit box, silly," Tanya answered, shaking her head, then placed her hand on the wall and spoke her passphrase. "Corehound." She then disappeared into the wall. "No," Keenis said, opening his own SDB. He was reluctant to go inside. He knew he could leave his filthy clothes inside, but then what? He had no towel to hide his nakedness and no desire to prance about completely nude in front of two people he had just met. "Off my balls," Sage yelled at the wall. He then faded into the stone face. "Wow," thought Keenis. "I wonder what happened to him when he said his passphrase." Keenis laughed, imagining what it could have been. His laugh got stuck in his throat after noticing Tanya step out through the SDB wall back into the room. She was a tall, slender blonde, built like a supermodel. Her entire body was flawless, as if sculpted by a perfectionist man with an extreme attention to detail. She was also completely nude. Keenis jerked his head to the left just in time to catch Sage walking out, covered from eyebrow to toe knuckles in body hair. Wow. It was then that he realized he was in a clothing-optional co-ed bathhouse. "Hey guys, sorry it took me so long," Keenis said as he stepped out. He spent an extra few minutes inside, bumbling through a prayer that he hoped God understood because it sure didn't make much sense. As he struggled to find the right words, he knew he was about to enter a situation that his eyes and imagination might be tempted to cheat on his dear wife. "Cold?" Tanya asked, staring at Keenis's crotch. "Not as cold as Sage, apparently," Keenis laughed. "Hey now, my wife doesn't mind, and that's all that matters to me," Sage said, attempting a masculine pose. "Keep an eye out for any sewage floating about. Apparently, about an hour ago, they saw some guy washing his rancid and sewage-covered rat meat upstream. The whole place reeked of death. Still stinks, if you ask me." "That's disgusting," Keenis said, looking around to see if anyone was staring at him. "Wow, this water feels great." They cast an enchantment on the building a few years ago. It actually tricks you into thinking it's warm by lowering your body temperature several degrees, Tanya said, as she began to wash up. Keenis struggled to ignore the peripheral silhouette of the bathing beauty. He looked down at the dressing on his arm and started to unravel the bandages. The bite mark was gone. He then removed the bandages from his hand. His fingers were back. "What in the world is this stuff?" Keenis asked. "It grew my fingers back." "Healing bandages, dude," Sage said. "You really need to go to the visitor center soon." Is this your first day in this world? Yeah, Keenis replied. Is it that noticeable? Sage and I both woke up here, Tanya said, placing her hand on Keenis' shoulder. Well, not here, but in Kepharon. Sage and I met about 2 years ago. He was fortunate to arrive with his wife. I, however, haven't seen my husband in over 8 years. 8 long years. She wiped a forming tear from the corner of her eye. I'm sorry, Keena said, placing his hand on hers. We will figure something out. I don't even know you. Why would you just offer to help me? It's what I do, Keena said, smiling. Besides, you paid for my soap. It's the least I could do. I'm going to start buying more people's soap. Oh, snap. The water got cold. Time's up, Sage said, climbing out of the stream. Wouldn't that be weird to walk up to some stranger and hand him a bar of soap? Oh, snap. The water got cold. Time's up, Sage said, climbing out of the stream. Enchantment's gone. Body cold. Time to dry off. Keenis and Tanya climbed out of the stream and followed Sage back to the changing room. The 3 adventurers each got dressed and headed back to the Squatting Dragon for the night. Quite an adventurous day for the lost hunter of rodents. So many questions, so many things to do in the following days. Keenis laid down next to his Nicolate and embraced her warm body, kissing her on the forehead. I love you, Keenis, Nicolate whispered. I love you too, Stinky Breath, Keenis whispered back. I will tell you all about the bathhouse in the morning. That's nice, dear, Nicolate mumbled as she fell back to sleep. And that, folks, is the end of Chapter 2. Stay tuned for Chapter 4. I'm not sure how far into this I'm going to go, but I need to stop in some place that will really pique your interest. So stay tuned for more adventures of Keenis and Nicolate. Like I said, click on the link below to purchase your own copy of Nogatha. Perhaps we could even read together.